Welcome to Raise High here at George Washington University. Such an exciting week. We got 95 points, we got 89 points. We love the high-octane offense. We have different players showing up. Garrett Johnson, talk of the town, 21-9, 15-9.
Talk of the nation.
I mean, right? Well, I see we're at the DMV here, so this is Basketball Nation. So exciting. We're going to get to talk to him later to see his performance. But I want to talk also about Jacoy Hutchinson. Sure. Because his defense really was a big factor. But we're starting with our friend, Mr. Bishop from Baltimore, having 32 points. You were down against William & Mary and come back. I know I'm throwing a lot at you, but there was so much action this week. And then you have your first team all-league guy get 32 points. Gonna go back door.
Bishop trying to answer with a three, and he does! It's a big one for GW.
Yeah, James was, he was really good against William & Mary, obviously. I found it funny. I think he only had 5 points or something like that in the first game, and people were like, "Hey, was that in the game plan for James not to score?" And I'm like, "No, I think he'll be fine scoring." And then he goes and gets 30 on Saturday. So
it's funny, a high score, you win by 40, you think you'd get a lot of points, but he didn't. I heard some of your players say, Coach Caputo mentioned that this isn't how college basketball works, winning by 40. Then you come down and you're down because William & Mary, good team, shot a lot of threes.
Yeah, they had a great win against American.
Great win against American and have 18 three-pointers, which is a ton of three-pointers and lose. And then Bishop says, I'll take over. Kind of tell us how that transformed.
Yeah, we settled in. I mean, to their credit, they were playing well. They go and beat American by 20 on, I believe, Thursday. And then, I had a couple of guys make more threes in that game than they've made, in their careers even. And so, they jumped out to a great start. We settled in. And about for the middle 25 minutes of the game, we were very, very good. And I told the guys at halftime when we were up 1, I'm like, hey, this is college basketball. It's not winning by 45. It's not being up 17 and a half. This is sort of how all the games are. And so there's no reason to, get too high or too low or about anything. We just have to, kind of look at what we need to do and execute. And we came out, I think, really strong and to start the second half.
Defensively, but you got the ball to the paint. In other words, sometimes you play a three-point team and your player's like, oh, it's a three-point shooting contest.
We put the
you
ball
emphasize
in the paint.
We're going inside.
Yeah, put the ball in the paint. I do think, Jacoy and Jim Buchanan in the second half defensively, really made some great plays. Obviously, Max and James had big nights as well. Garrett shot the ball well. I thought Trey Autry had his best defensive game. Of our scrimmages and games thus far. He made some nice defensive plays.
Yeah, he's got good size and he makes threes. Mm-hmm. I thought Autry was part of that formula of that defensive group. And Jacoy, I brought him up because if you look at a stat sheet, you'd probably be like, oh, he wasn't that great or whatever. But if you look at it from a coach, I thought he was kind of your MVP.
He
played 25
game,
minutes, right? Move Bishop over.
Defensive, effort, energy. Very, he's one of those guys, Jacoy is that, Jimmy, you coached a long time. There are very few freshmen that are ready to defend at a high level when they get to college. And I had a couple throughout the years as an assistant, but certainly Jacoy is in that category. I mean, he's that type of guy even as a freshman.
Yeah, getting over screens, matching other guys up. Good, went to DeMatha and IMG, but still to step into that role here. And Maximus. The question was, I had this on the first show, Rookie of the Year, his name's on the board, how's he going to react? That could go either way. It's clearly gone this way.
He's had a great week. Yeah,
fantastic. Yeah. Improved his shot, hit some threes, still rebounds, which I like, does dirty work.
On the defensive glass.
His exuberance for the game he's a little more confident. Tell us about Maximus, and we all know he was Rookie of the Year, but now it's a different ball game. And he's answered the bell plus some summertime work. What is that?
Yeah, he's gotten in great shape. I think, I've seen him in a defensive stance, probably more, in the first 2 games than a lot of last year, where you're trying to get a young player to understand, the level of intensity defensively. I think, he'll go after defensive rebounds. We know that on a high level. I've talked to him about guys that I either coached or coached against in the ACC. Bruce Brown, Pat Connaughton, guards, 6'5", 6'6", that go after the ball on the glass. Those guys have had great careers. He has that defensive rebounding instinct as a guard. And so, for him, he had a very good week. Obviously, he's going to have to continue it, but a good start for him.
Firing, driving inside. Shot is blocked by Maximus. He's doing it all.
It's interesting. You got Max over here with Bishop as returners. You got the freshman group that are freshmen, but then you got this transfer group, you know.
Yeah.
And I little housekeeping. Christian Jones, you think he's going to redshirt?
I think so, yeah.
Just want to make sure everybody knows that there's nothing wrong
Yeah.
because he's one of the freshmen. But it's an interesting little dynamic of three groups there. And George's Army, by the way, was fantastic. We talked about that Chihuahua show at halftime. Was amazing. This is just a great product. Come
My
down,
wife was
watch
really
games.
proud that the students knew our dog's name.
Yeah, because
That
I
was
saw your daughter up there.
It was a big thing for our family.
The whole thing was great. But real quick, how are the three groups meshing? In other words, returnees, transfers like Benny from Oklahoma and Virginia Tech, and then we have the freshmen. Real quick, how's that working?
It's a new experience for so many guys, and so it's a daily, sort of education for everybody. But I think we got good people who are, all for the team and all for each other, which is where you want to start.
And we're going to be right back with Garrett Johnson, who is one of those new players who came from Princeton. But you're doing a fantastic job meshing in the high-octane offense and just come down. And George's Army is just fantastic.
Security. It's something we all want. Something we need to feel safe. It's everywhere we go. It's in everything we do. But the idea of safety can be overwhelming. How do you secure what you can't see? How do you secure your future? For 80 years, WAEPA's group term life insurance has helped provide financial safety, security, and peace of mind to current and former civilian federal employees. To learn more, visit WAEPA.org.
Your pass, I like
There's
that.
a long three-pointer for Garrett Johnson. Johnson down the lane. Doesn't matter about the contact, puts it home.
Special guest, talk of the town, Garrett Johnson, you're back. An interesting journey from Episcopal, Coach Fitzpatrick. Team takeover, legendary AAU program, goes to Princeton, unable to play. I'm going to let you talk about it a little bit, but you have been there's a little buzz in DC about how well you're playing, your versatility, how many rebounds, how many scoring, but really the ability to see you back on the court.
Yes, sir. Yeah, no, it's been special. I mean, it's something I've thought about for a long time, obviously being away from the game. I'm just happy to be here.
You didn't get to play because of COVID at Episcopal. Right. Then at Princeton, because of the tumor, you couldn't play. Then you have to come home, get chemotherapy, you're fine. Met your parents, mother, University of Maryland grad.
Yes, sir.
Dad, Duke, Georgetown Law. I struggled, but we did the best we could. They're just so happy you're home. They're so happy you're here with Coach Caputo at GW, but they're also happy with the way you're playing.
Yes, sir.
Like, in other words, there's life moments, and that's much more important than basketball. But to come out and start and play basketball and play that well, talk about the transition of valuing the life lesson, but then getting to play really high-level basketball.
Yeah, I think first is just being grateful for being on the court in the first place. Having the environment and everything, the fans have been great, the students have been great. So that's been really special, having been away for so long. But then, it's basketball at the end of the day. No one's giving you any brownie points just because you're out there. So I knew I had to come play with energy, enthusiasm, and luckily my shot's been falling. And as long as I just keep playing with effort, playing with my teammates are amazing. I think we're gonna have a special year.
I can see the synergy of this. Some new. Then we get Bishop, who comes back. Maximus, who's gotten a lot better. Tell us about yourself, Maximus, who was at Kansas State. Buchanan doesn't play at Virginia Tech. Like, does your group get over here and say like how lucky you are, because you are, but how great it is to be here with a coach and a program that you get to play now? Yeah. I know yours was more health related, but guys have different journeys now in college. This isn't the old days of we're all here for 4 years. You're taking different paths, yet you're kind of merging the same, whether it was Princeton and went to the Sweet 16, whether it was Virginia Tech or Kansas State and stuff. But now you're here playing. Tell us about your group of kind of second chance guys doing so well.
Yeah, I think we knew from the second we all got here in the summer that we have a lot of talent and a lot of guys who have something to prove. Like you said, like going to one place doesn't work out for whatever reason, and coming here, all having the opportunity to be on the floor as young players and inexperienced guys for the most part. But we can kind of build together and build that team chemistry together as young guys. And I think we know, if we keep playing together, listen to what the coaches tell us, we could do a lot of good things together.
Yeah, I mean, you played Stonehill and you kind of ran it out on them. That was just a game where you played really well. The whole team did. You had 21-9. Now you go and play William and Mary, a Coastal Athletic, still the CAA. It's just changed. It's the Coastal Athletic Association. Monmouth from that league went and beat West Virginia. Okay, I saw Towson beat Robert Morris. Okay, that's a really good league. William and Mary has you down, by 9 points. They're firing threes all over the place. And then you guys come back. So that was a good test. Now you're 2-0. In other words, tell us about one game's a relatively easy win, but to be down and then to come back and to get that good win at home, 95 and 89, we like playing that way, don't we?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It took you like 2 weeks at Princeton to score that many points, so that's good here. But to play that high energy style, but in the huddle and in the locker room, did you guys just say we're coming back against William and Mary and we're not going to lose this game?
Yeah, I mean, Coach Kapua told us that this is what college basketball really looks like. It's not a 45-point win every night, so we knew we were going to have to respond to the adversity. And I think now having done that, it gives us a lot more confidence being able to be in those positions where we might be down a little bit early and being able to bounce back. But also, we know we got to start better, start more aggressive, and that's something the coaches have been stressing to us. So, yeah.
Yeah, because it's the A-10 coming up. You get to go to the Bahamas, have some fun there, but those are good games too.
Yes, sir.
Every game, whether it's here on the road, it comes down to the Atlantic 10. Davidson beat Maryland. See, in other words, there's an A-10 win. You're starting to watch the basketball season form into what you are. You guys are a high-octane offense. Tell us about who you knew before you came here. Like, did you play with Jacoy?
So me and Jacoy actually worked out together a lot last summer. So before I was home to do chemotherapy, I was in the gym with Jacoy a lot up at Coolidge High School. So I knew Coy. Me and June never played together really, but we knew of each other. So us DC guys, we had some prior run-ins before, so that kind of helped make us all a little comfortable. And as soon as we got here, the whole team kind of just gelled really fast. We all hang out together off the court just as much as we're on the court, so that's really important for us.
That helps you win games. You've
Yes,
done
sir.
a tremendous job. Up next, we have Kevin Burke and Coach McCombs, who's got her women's basketball team off to a fast start, and they're off to a big, exciting trip she's going to talk to us about as well.
Gas prices got you fuming? No need to get heated. Save time and money with Metro. Ride, save, explore. Metro.
Welcome back here to Raise High at GW, joined now by GW women's basketball head coach Caroline McCombs. Team off to a great start this season. Coach, how you been?
Been great. It's
Yeah.
been a lot of fun, definitely.
Little bit of a whirlwind going up to Manhattan last week, and now you got a couple games going on this week. It's all of a sudden deep dive in, isn't it, right at the beginning of the year?
Yeah, absolutely. We're in it now. So it's non-conference play. It's practicing, preparing for games. It's an exciting time of year.
Yeah, you got a couple wins to start the season last week. That's always a good way to get started. Let's start with the Howard game. And Nia Robertson, who's coming off a 6th Woman of the Year campaign, who knows what she's going to do her sophomore year? Well, she goes out and ties the program record in her very first game of her sophomore season. You know she's capable of that, but what was it like to see her come and put on that type of performance?
Yeah, she got hot, from the jump. So that was always good to see. Just kind of letting things come to her. Once she kind of gets in that rhythm, then she's kind of just tries to take over a little bit. So always enjoy, watching her play, getting after it. It's just an exciting time getting on the court and, watching those players grow from, last year to this year.
What's been the biggest jump you've noticed from her, perhaps in practice, of being a freshman to being a sophomore?
Yeah, I just think her overall confidence. I just think you kind of don't know what you don't know coming in as a freshman, and then just having played a whole year, you understand things a lot more, whether that's scouting report defense, what we're exactly looking for on offense. So just sort of being more in sync this year with everybody.
You hear it across the country when maybe as a freshman she wasn't even on the front page of the scouting report. Now she's probably the first person on the scouting report. So as a coach, how do you approach that with her to be like, hey, you're now the hunted, as opposed to somebody that they may not know about?
Yeah, I think you have to own that. She's earned that from last year. And so I think she has to work that much harder. It's not going to be easy to get your shots off, but we have to play within our offense and let those things come to us. And that's what I love about our team is I think we have some balance. We're still working on all the pieces and everybody figuring those things out. But really just being able to have that balance will allow her to get those shots even later in the possession too.
And then you go to Manhattan, a road game, which is always tough regardless of who you're playing. And It was a grind out type of game, both teams defensive focused, and you guys didn't have the best start, but you were able to whittle your way back into it. Do you think that the veteran nature of your team helped you guys be like, okay, settle down, we're going to get back into this?
Yeah, I think just there was a lot of resilience in that game. We got down, didn't talk about offense, just talked about how we would get stops and create some offense, from those defensive opportunities. And so, yeah, I think that definitely we willed our way. We actually made a run when we made some subs and had some people come off the bench that were probably maybe a little bit more fresh. So Monica Marsh was in at that time, and just letting people kind of do their thing. Maddie Buford had a really good game for us. So I think it was really important to make that run there late in the second half.
We talked how Nia had a great game Monday. Well, Maddie had a great game against Manhattan, 20-point game, and she's new to the program, but not new to college basketball, and that's always a benefit.
Yeah, anytime you have veteran players, they just understand the duration of a season, how intense the games are. So she just has that mentality about her, which we really appreciate, and it helps, it rubs off on the younger players.
And then you come in and there's somebody like a Faith Blethyn who comes in and hits 2 humongous threes in the third and fourth quarter, really to stem any tide that Manhattan had. She doesn't play a ton as a fifth-year player, but when she plays, she really has an impact.
Yeah, you know what? I mean, Faith did hit 2 big threes. What I'm most proud about her were her 2 big charges that she took. We talk about making game-winning plays, and those were game-winning plays. So to see her do that, that's been a work in progress. She's continued to get better at those things on the defensive end. But then to have those opportunities to hit those shots, and that happened for her as well. It was terrific.
See, that's the thing. In the box score, you're going to see 2 3-pointers. You're going to look at the 2 charges instead. That's the stuff that doesn't show up when you have veteran leaders like that.
Yeah, I mean, again, like our players, they buy into that. They do those things. Those are little things that make our program work.
And somebody that also makes game-winning plays we're going to talk to here in the next segment. Maya Wataiwo just went over 800 career rebounds. I mean, we can talk about her for all of time, but what does she mean to your program that she has that anchor down low?
Yeah, I mean, it's just that presence on the floor. You know, we have her doing some different things this year, so I think she's getting accustomed to that, playing on the perimeter even a little bit more. So how does that look for her? Getting her looks at the basket, but just the defensive presence and the mindset that she brings, the veteran leadership. You know, we know what we're going to get from Iowa, so she's going to work hard. And again, that spirit of energy is just contagious.
And that versatility, right? Because you brought in Marion, who can play more of a structured 5, and now you get to bring Maya out because she can cause havoc almost anywhere on the court.
Yeah, definitely. So it's just putting her in those positions as much as we can in practice to get her used to them in the game. But it's been fun. Obviously, we love Maya. Don't ever want her to graduate, but we understand this is her final go-round with us.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll talk more with Maya coming up in our next segment. But I want to look ahead to next week. You guys get a great opportunity to play 3 great teams. You get to go to Puerto Rico. Talk a little bit about the San Juan Shootout coming up.
Yeah, can't believe it's already that time of year where we get to go to Puerto Rico and 3 games in 3 days. We do our best to try to simulate what things are going to look like in March when we get to the A10 tournament. But we're going to play 3 really good teams in Charlotte, Southern Illinois, and West Virginia. So not particularly in that order, but just an opportunity for our players to take care of their bodies over those 3 days. Obviously, we want to enjoy a little sun too.
Yeah, you guys got the opportunity to go to Europe in the summer and now Puerto Rico in November. It'll be a pretty good trip for you guys, and we look forward to hearing all about it next week.
Yeah, we're excited about it.
All right, Coach, appreciate the time as always.
Thank you.
All right, coming up next, we talk with Maya Wataiwo from the women's basketball team. That's next on Raise High at GW.
Raise High. This isn't just our battle cry. It's our call, our challenge. Because when you were called to Washington, you were called to higher expectations, to a higher standard. We are called here to advance knowledge, to serve society, to change the world. This is the George Washington University, and what we make is history. So stand up, be bold, take risks, press on, push harder, raise high.
Welcome back here to Raise High at GW. We wrap it up today with the one, the only Maya Wataiwo from the women's basketball team. Maya, how you doing?
Feeling good. Happy to be here.
You know, year 6 here at GW, year 5 for you on the basketball team. We finally got you on the program. Yeah. It's been a nice little transformation here for you over the last 6 years. What's your experience been like here at GW?
I've loved every moment at GW. Obviously, it's had its ups and downs, but there's a reason why I keep coming back. I think the history of the place, the location of the school, my teammates, my coaches. So happy to be back for yet another year.
Yeah, we start, your very first year on campus, you get hurt, 2 days before the season opener? You have to redshirt that year. You got a COVID year in there. So making the most out of your time here, and you really have done that on the court. You have 800 career rebounds now, almost 800 career points. What has that meant for you in terms of being able to see your name rise up the record book like it has?
Usually I try not to pay attention to that so I don't psych myself out, but every now and then when I see the post or I see the numbers, it's really cool to see myself make it into the record book with all the other really good players that have played here. So it's become more and more exciting the more I get used to it.
Yeah, you get on pace to become just the third player in women's basketball history with 1,000 points and 1,000 rebounds here at GW. It's a pretty impressive feat. Let's talk about your rebounding, because you're all defensive all the time. That's really been your core here at GW through your career. Where does that come from? What's your mindset on the defensive end to go get the rebounds?
I think defense comes very naturally to me. I just like the hustle. I like the timing of getting rebounds. Sometimes when you're playing the center, naturally they just fall to you. But especially on offense, I just think that's how I can contribute, and it's controllable to me to just go and get the ball because I can jump. So I'm like, let's just try and go get this ball or get a tap out to my shooters.
That works. It's been great.
Yeah.
Now, we mentioned that you've been here for a bit. You graduated in the spring with a degree in engineering, which is not something that most basketball players have, is an engineering degree. But you and Faith and Essence and Naya all decided to come back for one more year. What went into that decision, and why did you guys end up deciding to come back?
I think a lot and also a little went into that decision. We all talked between each other. We all made the decisions ourselves, but I don't think any of us were ready to leave the program yet and ready to leave being around each other. And with having the opportunity to come back, to play another season, to go to school at this great institution, I think it was kind of a no-brainer.
Did you have like a little bit of like, hey, there's some unfinished business as well? Perhaps that went into it as well?
Oh, for sure. I think definitely when you're granted another year, you're like, oh, well, I don't want to have any regrets. I don't want to leave anything on the table. So definitely some unfinished business. With the season we had last season, having the best season since my freshman year or the year before my freshman year. So it's like, let's build on that and try and go further.
And you talked about having the great academic institution that is GW. You're an engineering major.
Yes.
Now you're going a master's in engineering management,
Yes.
correct? Tell us about where that came from, and that's a big workload off the court as well.
I just really like the built environment and infrastructure, and I was in civil, and that was a lot to do with basketball, so I thought a pivot into engineering management would give me a new look at the world of STEM and infrastructure and building, so I'm enjoying it so far. We'll see if I need to pivot again.
Where does the passion from engineering come from? Because that's not, like we said, that's not a normal major for somebody that's playing student athlete with the workload you have to deal with.
Growing up, when I moved into my house that I live now since 2006, I got to be on site a little bit while my mom would pick me up from school and we would go to site. We'd go to Home Depot, IKEA, Lowe's. So those are still my favorite stores and one of the reasons why I chose to study what I do.
Wait, did you just say Lowe's and Home Depot are your favorite stores?
Love them.
What's your favorite spot at Home Depot or Lowe's?
Where the wood panels are, and it just smells like wood. Let's not get into it.
No, it's incredible. I love that. But this goes into the fact that you're one of the most fascinating people. You love Lowe's and Home Depot. You're great on the court, but you also have you're many talented. I think you play piano a ton. I remember you used to play it in the ballrooms of the hotels.
Yes.
Just talk a little bit about your passions off the court.
I grew up playing violin and piano, and so when Kevin used to be with our team, I would always go around the hotel and look for a piano to just play. Now it's like a de-stressor, but it's been fun. The more teammates I've had, finding out who also has those interests. So Marin and I really enjoy those interests together, Nat and I too. But I've tried to keep them up as basketball season comes. We all know it's busy, but I definitely like music, singing, dancing, arts. I'm a big arts girl on top of basketball. So.
Really quickly, do you have a favorite composer or somebody, a favorite pianist?
Probably Debussy or Rachmaninoff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Rachmaninoff and IKEA in the same segment. That's what you get with Maya Taiwo, plus the addition of the great stuff on the court. We appreciate you coming by, and I'm sure we'll have you back on again soon.
Thank you.
All right, that's going to do it for this edition of Raise High at GW. Thanks to everybody here with the Buff and Blue, for Chris Caputo, for Garrett Johnson, for Caroline McCombs, and for Maya Taiwo. I'm Kevin Burke saying so long from Foggy Bottom. We'll talk to you next time here on Raise High at GW.
Security. It's something we all want. Something we need to feel safe. It's everywhere we go. It's in everything we do. But the idea of safety can be overwhelming. How do you secure what you can't see? How do you secure your future? For 80 years, WAEPA's group term life insurance has helped provide financial safety, security, and peace of mind to current and former civilian federal employees. To learn more, visit WAEPA.org.
Make your trip monumental. Sightsee through DC without overspending on gas and ride shares. Experience DC the local way. Ride, save, explore. Metro.